Narrator voice deepens, slow, deliberate, like a whisper echoing through stone corridors before we begin. Understand this. Most people walk into life with a belief crafted by parents, teachers, society, and their own fragile hopes. The belief that the world is kind, that fairness is natural, that if they simply do good, remain patient, treat others with honesty and respect, then life will deliver rewards in equal measure. But Machiavelli studied human nature at its core, stripped of illusions, and he warned that this expectation is the first trap, the most dangerous trap, because the world is not shaped by goodness, it is shaped by advantage. It bends for the strong, it sharpens itself against the weak, and it crushes those who enter it unprepared. And so we begin with a truth you may have felt but never fully understood. The world is not kind, it is calculated. It measures you not by your intentions, but by your usefulness, by your strength, by your ability to enforce your place. You can walk into a room generous, pure, hearted, with a smile that promises sincerity, and yet it will not protect you from those who see an opportunity to use you, mislead you, or rise above you. Machiavelli would whisper to you that human nature is predictable. People are driven by fear, ambition, envy, desire, and insecurity. These forces do not create fairness. They create strategy. In every interaction, whether professional or personal, someone is gaining something, losing something, or maneuvering for position. Most do this without even realizing it, but the sharp ones, the calculating ones, the ones who rise, they do it consciously. And here lies the great contradiction. People speak of kindness, but they reward dominance. They praise humility, but they follow confidence. They preach morality, but they obey strength. Machiavelli did not invent this reality. He merely exposed it. The world judges you not by your heart, but by what you can enforce, not by your purity, but by your power. You may want people to respect your generosity, but respect does not come from being good. It comes from being formidable. There is a reason the gentle are often overlooked, ignored, dismissed. Their virtues are invisible without strength to accompany them. The world has no mechanism to protect the soft. It devours them. You have seen this. The kind employee who never gets promoted. The loyal friend who becomes the emotional dumping ground. The honest partner who is taken for granted. The quiet dreamer who never receives an opportunity. They become invisible because they expect the world to recognize goodness as value. But goodness without strength is not value. It is vulnerability. Machiavelli knew this all too well. In the political arenas of Florence, those who were kind without power were not admired. They were manipulated, used, exiled, silenced. The world behaves no differently today. The faces have changed, the costumes have changed, the weapons have changed, but the instinct is the same. People push where they sense weakness. They challenge those who hesitate. They dominate those who seek approval. And the world breaks those who misunderstand this truth. So ask yourself, how often has your desire to be good placed you beneath someone who had no intention of offering you fairness in return? How many times have you been disappointed because you expected a moral outcome in an environment that does not reward morality? This is not your fault. You were simply taught the wrong blueprint. But Machiavelli offers a new one, a blueprint shaped by reality, not idealism. He would tell you that fairness is not the natural state of the world. It is the illusion taught to keep you docile. The world is a battlefield of perceptions, alliances, deceptions, strengths, weaknesses, and shifting power. And anyone who walks into a battlefield expecting fairness becomes the first casualty. This does not mean you must abandon goodness. It means you must never expect goodness to protect you. you must never rely on kindness as a shield. You must never believe that being morally correct automatically makes you safe, respected, or successful. Machiavelli would advise you to reverse the equation. Be strong first, so your goodness cannot be exploited. Be strategic, so your kindness becomes a choice, not a vulnerability. Be aware, so your trust is earned, not assumed. Imagine walking through life with this new clarity. You would stop expecting people to behave ideally. You would see their motives without being shocked by them. You would understand when someone is trying to use you before the trap closes. And most importantly, you would stop breaking every time the world does not reward your good intentions. Instead, you would maneuver through life like someone who understands the terrain, someone who sees reality rather than the fantasy taught to them. Machiavelli believed that the wise person is not the one who denies the world's cruelty, but the one who learns to navigate it. Not by becoming evil, but by becoming aware. Not by becoming heartless, but by ensuring your heart cannot be used as a weapon against you. The world is calculated, and if you do not learn to calculate in return, you will always be out-maneuvered. People will take advantage of you. Opportunities will slip away. Your potential will be controlled by those who are less talented but more strategic. And so, the first transformation begins with a single realization. The world does not break you because it is cruel. It breaks you because you walk into it unprepared, unaware of its hidden mechanics, unaware of the instincts that drive people, unaware that goodness alone cannot protect you. Machiavelli does not condemn world for this. He simply explains it, so that you may rise above it rather than be crushed beneath it. Narrator voice deep, steady, precise. Like someone revealing a truth the world hides from the masses. Most people hear the word ruthless and immediately imagine cruelty, aggression, or heartlessness. They picture the tyrant who destroys everything in his path, the dictator who thrives on violence, or the cold opportunist who burns bridges without hesitation. But Machiavelli never taught cruelty. He never celebrated brutality for its own sake. His version of ruthlessness was something very different, something far more intelligent, far more controlled, and far more necessary for survival in a world governed by ambition, conflict, and hidden motives. When Machiavelli spoke of being ruthless, he meant precision, resolve, the ability to make hard decisions without trembling, the willingness to do what must be done when the world corners you, the discipline to remove what weakens you even when your heart resists. This is a form of strength that most people never develop because they are taught to fear it, to suppress it, to believe that discomfort must be avoided, that confrontation is harmful, that hard choices should be delayed until they become impossible to escape. And that is exactly why most people lose. Not because they are not good, talented, or capable, but because when the moment of decision arrives, they hesitate. They wait, they hope the problem will solve itself. They let guilt, fear, or attachment paralyze them. And while they stand frozen, someone else, someone less emotional, someone more decisive, steps forward and claims what they were too afraid to seize. Machiavelli observed that hesitation is the slowest form of destruction. It rots opportunities from the inside, turning possibility into regret. People imagine that avoiding a difficult decision is safer than choosing wrong, but Machiavelli disagreed. He believed that indecision is more dangerous than a flawed decision because it leaves you exposed to forces outside your control. A mistaken action can be corrected. A missed opportunity cannot. To be ruthless in the Machiavellian sense is to act when action is required. It means understanding that your long-term survival is more important than your temporary discomfort. It means recognizing that mercy without strategy is simply weakness dressed in noble clothing. Consider how often you have allowed someone to drain your time, your energy, your self-respect simply because you did not want to seem harsh. Reflect on how many situations you remained in long after they were destroying you, because you told yourself that leaving would feel cruel. Think of the times you allowed guilt to trap you in relationships, jobs, friendships, and commitments that offered you nothing in return. This is the cost of avoiding ruthlessness. Every time you refuse to make a decisive choice, someone else makes it for you. Every time you spare someone's feelings at the expense of your own future, you are writing your own downfall. Every time you prioritize comfort over clarity, you surrender power without realizing it. In the world Machiavelli lived in, indecision was fatal. A leader who failed to act swiftly lost his allies, lost his city, lost his throne. And though you may not be fighting for kingdoms, the principle is the same. You are fighting for control of your life, for the direction of your future, for the respect you are given in the world. And if you cannot act with precision when necessary, you allow circumstances, other people, and even your own insecurities to dictate the course of your life. Ruthlessness is the ability to choose the path that benefits you even if it pains you. It is the courage to end what is harmful, the strength to enforce boundaries, the clarity to recognize that your destiny cannot be shaped by fear. And here is the truth Machiavelli understood better than anyone. Life will always present you with choices that hurt. There is no avoiding discomfort. You can either face short-term discomfort for long-term power, or avoid discomfort and face long-term consequences. Those who appear ruthless are simply those who choose strength early instead of suffering later. Imagine how different your life would look if you adopted even a fraction of this clarity. How many opportunities you would seize, how many toxic situations you would leave, how many dreams you would pursue without waiting for permission, how many people you would stop giving power to. Machiavelli believed that the most dangerous person in the world is not the aggressive one. It is the one who sees clearly, acts decisively, and refuses to be controlled by guilt or hesitation. This kind of person is unshakable. They do not make decisions out of fear. They do not apologize for protecting their future. They do not allow others to guilt them into submission. They understand that progress demands sacrifice, not of morals, but of weakness, not of kindness, but of indecision, not of humanity, but of the illusions that keep you small, and so ruthlessness becomes liberation. It becomes the art of choosing yourself before the world chooses to break you. It is the discipline of cutting away the unnecessary so the essential can thrive. It is the courage to confront reality as it is, not as you wish it to be. And it is the inner transformation that separates those who endure from those who collapse under the weight of their own hesitation. Narrator voice deep, steady, controlled, as if revealing a hidden law of power that most people never dare to confront. There is a truth about power that many refuse to accept, a truth Machiavelli understood with absolute clarity. In this world, people follow what they perceive, not what is real. They respond to confidence, not competence. They respect strength, even when it is an illusion, more than they respect goodness, integrity, or sincerity. And so, the one who masters appearance gains influence long before the one who masters substance. This is not because people are foolish, but because perception shapes reality far faster than truth ever can. Machiavelli lived in a world of shifting alliances, treacherous politicians, and powerful families who played the game of influence with ruthless precision. He watched men rise not because they were worthy, but because they understood how to project worthiness. He saw weak rulers survive simply by appearing decisive, while strong rulers fell because they appeared uncertain. And he learned that power belongs not to those who are the strongest, but to those who appear unbreakable. This is the part people often misunderstand. They believe that to gain respect, they must reveal everything: their thoughts, their weaknesses, their vulnerabilities, their doubts. They believe transparency will earn admiration. But Machiavelli would tell you that transparency is a luxury reserved for those who have already secured power. For everyone else, it is a liability, a door left open for others to walk through and rearrange your fate. To control your image is to control the way the world treats you. If you appear calm under pressure, people assume you are capable. If you carry yourself with certainty, people assume you are knowledgeable. If you walk like someone who expects to be respected, people give you respect before they even know why. And if you show fear, doubt, desperation, or insecurity, even in small amounts, people treat you according to those signs long before they know the truth of who you are. Look at your own life. Think about the individuals others instinctively follow. They are not always the smartest. They are not always the most talented, but they are consistent in their image. They speak with authority. They show no hesitation. They carry themselves with an aura that says, "I know what I am doing, and you would be wise to follow." And the world believes them. Perception is a kind of invisible armor. It shields you from disrespect and from becoming an easy target. Machiavelli warned that the world tests you constantly, often without you realizing it. A single moment of visible weakness can invite challenges you never asked for. A single crack in your confidence can cause others to question your position, your value, your leadership. People hunt for signs of uncertainty in others because it helps them position themselves. They need to know whether they can overpower you or whether they should respect you. This is why Machiavelli insisted that a leader must learn the art of seeming, not deception for the sake of deception, but control over the image you present. He believed it was essential to appear merciful, faithful, humane, honest, and religious, even if you must, at times, act in ways that contradict those appearances. To him, there was no contradiction. There was only strategy. The face you show the world keeps you safe, while your actions guide your destiny. Imagine this duality in your own life. You may be fighting your battles privately, doubt, fear, obstacles, insecurities, but to the world, you must present composure. You may be working tirelessly behind the scenes to improve yourself, but publicly, you must project progress. You may be navigating chaos, but you must walk through it like someone who cannot be shaken. Because perception does not wait for truth. It reacts instantly, shaping how others treat you, speak to you, trust you, fear you, or follow you. Think of the times you lost opportunities, not because you lacked ability, but because you failed to project certainty. Think of moments when you were disrespected, not because you were unworthy, but because you appeared unsure. Think of the people who underestimated you simply because you allowed them to see too much of your internal struggle. Machiavelli believed that the wise do not reveal their entire mind. They reveal only what strengthens their position and withhold what weakens it. Power belongs to those who know how to shape expectations. When people expect greatness from you, they interpret your actions through that lens. When they expect weakness, they interpret everything you do as confirmation of that belief. This is why controlling your image is not vanity, it is survival. It is strategy. It is the foundation of influence. Imagine walking into every room as someone others instinctively respect before a single word leaves your mouth. Imagine carrying an aura that communicates confidence so clearly that people hesitate to challenge you. Imagine projecting a level of self-assurance so consistent that others begin believing in your capabilities, even when you doubt them privately. This is the power Machiavelli speaks of, the power to shape perception so effectively that the world treats you according to the image you choose, not the one you fear. To control your image is to command the initial conditions of every interaction. It is to build a reputation that works on your behalf even when you are not present. It is to create a shield around your identity that protects you in ways honesty alone never could. Machiavelli understood that reputation is a second skin, one you must craft with intention, guard with vigilance, and use with precision. Because once the world sees you as formidable, it becomes much harder for it to break you. Narrator voice deep, calm, unshakable, as if carving each word into stone. There comes a moment in every person's life when the world stops behaving like an opponent and begins behaving like an executioner. A moment when pressure tightens, when betrayal arrives without warning, when plans collapse, when people you trusted reveal their true nature, and when life seems determined to break you simply to test the limits of your endurance. This moment is not an accident. It is not unfair. It is the world functioning exactly as Machiavelli described. A place where fortune is unpredictable, human loyalty is fragile, and survival belongs only to those who strengthen their minds before the storm arrives. Machiavelli believed that the greatest mistake a person can make is to assume life will spare them from hardship. He saw suffering, betrayal, instability, and pressure as inevitable forces, not punishments, not misfortunes, simply realities. And those who crumble under these realities do so because they spent their lives hoping things would get easier instead of preparing themselves to get stronger. To survive, to rise, to remain unbroken, you must build an internal fortitude that no external pressure can infiltrate. You must become unshakable, not cold, not cruel, unshakable. You must train your mind to withstand the weight of chaos, the sting of disappointment, the uncertainty of ambition, and the consequences of bold decisions. Because inner strength is the foundation upon which every form of power rests, Machiavelli knew that the world respects only those who cannot be moved by fear or manipulated by emotion. The ones who remain calm while others panic. The ones who think clearly when others lose themselves in confusion. The ones who do not collapse at the first sign of adversity. These are the individuals who rise to leadership, not because they seek authority, but because people instinctively follow those who remain steady while everything else falls apart. Life will test you with loss, with rejection, with pressure so intense that it feels like the ground beneath you is cracking. And in those moments, your survival depends not on your skills, your knowledge, or even your intelligence, but on the strength of your inner core. Machiavelli believed that fortune, the unpredictable force that governs opportunity, favors the bold and destroys the weak. But boldness is not recklessness. It is resilience. It is the ability to stand firm when circumstances attempt to break you. Think of how many people collapse under the weight of other people's opinions. How many abandon their goals the moment they face criticism. How many fold when one mistake embarrasses them. How many retreat into mediocrity because the world challenges them, and they take it personally instead of strategically. Machiavelli would say these individuals were defeated long before the world struck them. They were defeated by their own fragility. To become unbreakable, you must discipline your emotions, not suppress them, discipline them. You must become the master of your fear, not its servant. You must learn to observe your pain without allowing it to rewrite your destiny. You must resist the urge to respond impulsively, especially when under attack. Because the person who controls their reaction controls the outcome. Imagine facing a challenge and feeling fear rise in your chest, yet moving forward anyway. Imagine confronting betrayal not with rage but with cold clarity. Imagine losing something important and yet refusing to crumble because you know the strength of your future matters more than the agony of your present. This is what it means to be unbreakable. You decide who you are, not your circumstances. Machiavelli admired individuals who could endure hardship without begging for sympathy. Not because suffering is noble, but because resilience is power. When the world sees that pressure can't break you, it changes how it treats you. People stop testing you, enemies stop provoking you, doubters stop questioning you. Opportunities begin to appear because strength attracts fortune. Resilience commands respect, but becoming unbreakable also means releasing illusions. You must stop waiting for perfect conditions. You must stop expecting fairness from environments built on competition. You must stop believing that other people will save you, guide you, or protect you. Machiavelli taught that you are your own protector, your own strategist, your own fortress, and the moment you accept this, you stop living cautiously and start living with purpose. There is a shift that happens inside you when you become unbreakable. Your movements become deliberate. Your decisions become sharper. Your presence becomes heavier, as though your very existence carries weight. People sense it. They feel a steadiness in you that they cannot manipulate. They feel a confidence in you that they cannot undermine. They feel a boundary in you that they cannot cross. And when you reach this stage, the world stops trying to break you. Not because it becomes kinder, but because it recognizes there is no point. It cannot intimidate someone who has mastered their own emotions. It cannot destroy someone who has built themselves from the inside out. It cannot weaken someone whose identity is forged in discipline rather than circumstance. This is the transformation Machiavelli believed separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. The world will always push, test, threaten, and destabilize. That is its nature. But the person who becomes unbreakable moves through life untouched by the storms that destroy others. They rise not because they are lucky, but because they learned the one truth that protects them from everything the world might attempt. When you cannot be broken, you cannot be controlled.